Rahubat Hao, this is Roy again, back at it again with the next edition of this long study that I'm doing about the Abrahamic Religions and is astrology evil, where I prove how astrology is not evil using scholarly study, real life, going into the books, finding the words, matching it up with the original language, and being like, no, this is not what this is saying. With that being said, let's get started. So we ended on part 10 last video. Now we're going to go to part 11. The last thing that we talked about was how the season which you were born in affects your dopamine and serotonin levels, which affects every single thing in your body. Well, not every single thing, but the majority of shit. I don't know about that. A lot of shit in your body. Your body mass, your heart, your kidneys, your digestive system, that's a lot. To be honest, that might be most. So, this is another study that was done of a different planet, the moon. So, this is partially speculation, but it's not far-fetched at all. All right. From National, wow, that's a terrible spelling. I'm not fixing that. From National Geographic, on the moon and its effects on humans based off of a scientific study. This is terrible grammar, man. So, come on, get closer. Get closer. All right, so he and his colleagues used activity monitoring wristwatches to track sleep patterns for at least a week up to 2 months in two very different populations, okay? Nearly 100 members of indigenous Toba Combe, hopefully I pronounced that right. If I didn't, forgive me if you are a part of that communities in rural Argentina, okay, many of which do not use electricity, okay, and hundreds of University of Washington graduate students, okay. Members of the indigenous communities went to sleep on average 40 minutes later and slept less overall on the nights leading up to the full moon. But what De La Iglesia didn't anticipate was a similar reduction in sleep on the nights in many of the undergraduates in Seattle, a large city where artificial lights drown out moonlight, and students often have no idea when the full moon even is. That was surprising, he says. Perhaps, he speculates, ancient human hunter-gatherers evolved an as yet unknown way to sense the lunar cycle to stay alert and active right before the full moon, when they'd have more light during the first half of the night for attaining resources or social activities. Another unexpected result, many subjects in both study groups also slept less around the new moon. They slept less around the new moon and the full moon, this lunar phase during which the moon generally isn't visible. Evidently, there's more to the story than moonlight. De La Iglesia hypothesizes the moon's gravitational forces, which are strongest on the full moon and new moon phases, could also influence sleep patterns. That's when the sun, earth, and moon stand in one line, maximizing the gravitational pull on the earth from both sides. Now, this makes sense sleep-wise, because if your body is made up of over 60, over 70, over 80% water, something like that, of course the moon is going to affect you. The moon affects the tides. It affects the tides of the extensively in vast oceans and seas of the entire planet. Well, planets, I say planet. But probably planets, the other moons on the other planets, they probably do the same thing if there's water on there or any other type of liquid. Like, it affects us. And there's a link if you want to go read the article. So we already proved that the sun does something to the body. The serotonin and dopamine levels shift, right? We already proved that the moon does something to our bodies, right? it's not far-fetched at all to think that the other planets would do something similar, right? It kind of makes sense. If the sun does one thing and the moon does another, well, we have other planets in the solar system. Those other planets, some of them are even bigger, way more mass than the moon. So they probably do something as well, right? Now, through pattern recognition, for at least the past 20,000, 30,000 years, however long astrology been around, right? Which is probably longer than 20,000 years, but let's just say that, right? Astrologers have recognized and wrote studies on the correlation between all of the planets and many of the comets and asteroids and mathematical points like the nodes and Lilith, and their effects on the human mind and body. But they did not stop there. Now, remember earlier I said that the planets, comets, asteroids, right, create an angle in between each other. So like astrology, you got the circle, this planet over here, this planet over there, and they're making an angle. An angle. Okay? You see the angle, the right angle, or whatever other angle it is? Each angle also has an energetic frequency. These angles mean something as well, not just the planets. The planetary alignment also makes a difference, right? This is how, through thousands of years of data, astrologers can predict events that may happen in and on the planet. All we have to do is go back on our Rolodex of times, planetary configurations like this have occurred, and then see what happened on the planet at that time. Like, for instance, in 1982, 86, something like that, we had the Sun, Mars, Venus, and I think Mercury was there as well. They were all at the end of Capricorn, right? That's a rare conjunction to happen. All those planets, that's rare. During that time, we had the Japan bond market crisis. Okay? Follow me. Capricorn is big business and finances. Mars is war. The sun illuminates things, right? It gives courage and strength as well. And Venus is also money and values. Japan bond market. Bonds is money. Big business, global, right? Government, which is also Capricorn. Fast forward to like 2 weeks ago. Like January 14th or something. I don't even remember. But it was in the month of January of 2026. or was it December 2025? One of those. We had the same configuration, except Mercury was there this time. And guess what's happening with Japan? The Japan reverse carry trade unwinding. It hasn't unwinded yet. But last time it took about a year after that conjunction for it to really hit, right? We're not a year in it. We're only like a month or so. So this year is going to be very interesting for a multitude of reasons. So let's move on. With the invention of the internet, it made it even easier for astrologers to look through the history books, as now we have computer software, which makes it so much easier, because before they had to write out an epidermis. I don't think I said that right. Let you know I don't know about that shit. But they had to write it out. They had to do all the math. That's a lot, bro. Computers, for real. It is called a Swiss ephemeris is what it's called. Forgive me. I said epidermis. That's a skin. Anywho, before the internet, astrologers would have to do extreme mathematical calculations by hand and then be able to read those calculations. This is not an easy feat, like I was saying earlier. It's not easy. Which is why astrology is not only science and math, it's also a language that needs to be respected as the complex subject it is. It is very, very complex. This is not easy to do. It's really not. This is not easy to do. It's not easy to do. So let's move on. Another amazing fact of astrology is that through the thousands of years of diligent and tedious research, astrologers not only documented repeatable human behavioral tendencies, they also found that certain words or concepts repeated depending on the planet, the angle, and where on the ecliptic path they were. For example, they found out that Mars is a planet that supplies aggression, expresses passion and sexual desire, and also supplies the spirit of a soldier at war. Now, we got other planets too, right? They all do that. And the angles, and the asteroids, and the constellations. They also found that depending on where on the ecliptic path this planet was, comma, dang, grammar, crazy, comma, it expressed itself differently, which gave birth to a whole other archetypal character with a whole different set of words and concepts to go along with it. So Mars Mars by itself, war, aggression, desire, passion, etc., right? When it's on a certain angle, right? A certain angle on that circle, those angles, where that planet is in, if it's in the first 30 degrees, the next 30 degrees, or the next 30 degrees, right? Mars in the first 30 degrees, which is Aries, is not just war and aggression. It's super war. It's super aggression. It's wild. When Mars is in Cancer, it has a way harder time expressing itself and that angle on the ecliptic path, right? We find out these patterns over time. And there's books about it. I mean, I got some books right here. Astrological, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got books. And that's right. I got books. This is real. Okay, so, well, what is real, really? But that's a whole different subject. They also found that this planet will change the words and concepts expressed depending on what degree it was in on that 360 degree ecliptic path. So say this is 30 degrees, right? There are 30 or 29 individual ticks in here, and then this line is the 30th, or well, technically it'd be 0, but yeah, so it's here. So not only the section on the ecliptic makes a difference, each degree makes a difference as well, which would make sense. If you're born during a different season, and we already proved scientifically that your dopamine and serotonin levels are differently expressed depending on the season, which is 90-degree angles, right? You see it? The 90-degree angles? You can take that and shorten it to 30-degree angles. Then you can take that and shorten it to every degree. You can do that with everything. You can do that with anything. And this is no different. Okay? Before you knew it, you could write a whole paper, literally a whole dissertation about someone's entire configuration. They also found that this is very important, because this is one of the reasons why people think astrology is evil. This next thing I'm about to say is massive. They also found that no matter how many times a planet played out the same way, it does not mean that it will play out that way every time, because the Most High is always in control first. That is important, okay? There's a lot of people who be using astrology as idol worship or idolizing astrology. No. Astrology is a math. It is not in a science and a language and pattern recognition, but it's not the end all be all, bro. It's patterns, but that doesn't mean the pattern gonna happen every time, bro. It's not like that, bro. It is not like that at all, bro. Just because the pattern is there 99% of the time, there's still 1% chance, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And 99% of the time isn't even always that like that, because there's actually multiple systems of astrology, and you can go into different ones. But we're gonna get into that later. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. But that is very important, because it's other people who make, not other people, it's people who don't have the education about what astrology is that say astrology is evil, or they give astrology a negative connotation because of their lack of knowledge. They go and spread things that is not what it is. Or they're doing this shit on purpose. And bro, if you're doing it, if you're watching this and you're doing malicious stuff with astrology on purpose, hey, just like Pilate, when they crucified Jesus, he washed his hand and was like, I'm not going to be the one responsible for that. Hey, I ain't going to be the one responsible for that, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Don't do no crazy shit with astrology, bro. Or any of these other esoteric stuff. Don't you dare try to go out here and be manipulative with astrology or tarot or any of the type of esoteric occult stuff. Hey, there's a difference between you getting your ass whooped in the physical and you getting your ass whooped in the astral. You do not want those hands, bro. You do not want those hands. It's not the same. Getting versus having crazy nightmares all the time, and now you're having out-of-body experiences and you're seeing crazy shit because you did some stupid shit with the occult that you weren't supposed to be fucking doing in the first place. Do not be manipulative. I'm not saying I'm not saying this to try to deter people from astrology. What I'm saying is, if you're going to do it, have extremely good intentions, because this is not just a math and science pattern. It is a responsibility, because there's great power, and with great power comes what? Great responsibility. Good job. I'm playing, but I'm not. I'm serious though. Like don't play with this shit. Okay, so on to the next subject. This leads me to the next part. Where am I at? 18 minutes? I got some time. This leads me to the next part, which is where you can learn about yourself. It's important. At the precise time, location, and date of your birth, all of the stars and planets were aligned, and asteroids and mathematical points, were aligned in a certain way to respect the ecliptic path, aka the zodiac, or the seasons. No, same thing. Not really, but you get it. This is what astrologers call a natal chart or a birth chart. Tomato. Everyone on the everyone on the planet has their own personal chart. No two charts are the same, not even twins. That 1/60th to 62nd time difference between birth actually matters a lot, because not only do you have degrees, you have arc minutes. Like you have minutes, then you have seconds, then you have milliseconds, then you have like picoseconds or whatever past that is the same thing. You have degrees, and then you have arc minutes, which is even there's 60 arc minutes in a degree. Like that, so that makes a really big difference. It's this really precise math when you get real deep in it. Okay. This natal chart is a 2D representation of the planets at the time, location, and date of your birth. It shows the planets some comets, the angles and signs and asteroids, right? With the more advanced technology, with the more advanced technology, you can even see the constellations and other astrological phenomena like the center of the galaxy. Like, you can actually put the constellations, the center of the galaxy, you could, with technology, astrology is at a whole different level, because you can actually make mathematical and scientific points happen like this instead of having to do the math by hand, which is so much, bro. So much. This chart is a mathematical and scientific astrological or celestial blueprint that the Most High, right, created for us to utilize for the development and the betterment of our consciousness. I need to say this again. This chart is a mathematical and scientific astrological blueprint that the Most High, Elyon El, in the name of Yeshua, who we know as Jesus the Christ, created for us to utilize for the development and betterment of our consciousness. And yes, for those who don't know, you can be a Christian and do astrology. I wouldn't call myself a Christian, but I'm of the way. I'll tell you that. I follow Jesus' commandments. Jesus' commandments. Because there's a difference between Jesus and Yahweh, but we're not there yet. We're going to get into that. Hey, we're going to get into that, and a lot of y'all ain't going to like me for this one. When I start to say that, yeah, I'm losing followers probably. So, when you learn how, and by the way, everything I'm about to say about that is truth. And you can read the book yourself when you get to it. When we get there. When I say a book, I mean the Bible. When you learn how to read the language and see the signs of the times, you will be able to see why you may have certain habits and how to improve on them. You'll be able to not feel ashamed for certain desires you may have. It doesn't mean to continue those desires necessarily, but it means that you get why they're there in a way, right? You can be alerted to any health condition that may be present or come up. Maybe not every single one, but if you're a good enough astrologer, you can pinpoint areas of someone's life where there's a higher percentage chance of something happening, right? You can see how comparable a relationship may be. Compatible a relationship may be. You can see the anxiety and how to relieve it. It is an endless universe of more phenomena. It is endless, bro. Now, for those who want to get into it or want to know your own chart, this is very important, because I see people on TikTok posting their natal chart on TikTok like it's not dangerous to post your shit on TikTok, bro. What is wrong with y'all? You probably just don't know. But let's clear that up now. P.S. Protect your natal chart like you would your Social Security card, bro. If it gets into the wrong hands, bro, it's easy. It is easy for someone who knows to manipulate you and find out a whole bunch of crap about you. Okay? Satan and Iblis do exist, bro. And the demons and jinns are always out trying to cause harm. Okay? I'm not saying to be paranoid. I'm saying to be purposeful. Okay? Not everybody needs to know your address. You don't need to post your address on the internet, bro. Why would you post your address on the internet and then be mad when people knocking at your door? Don't put your natal chart on the internet. But if you do, you better know that you're putting your address, your Social Security card on the internet, bro. And people gonna be stealing your Social Security. Don't put that unless you're ready. I'm telling you, hey, don't be doing that. I'm trying to tell niggas. I'm trying to tell niggas. Trying to tell niggas. Okay. We got two more parts. we're probably gonna hit like 35 minutes with this one. All right. Astrology does not stop here by no stretch of the imagination. Okay, you got many types of astrology. You got Vedic astrology, topical astrology, Hellenistic astrology, electional astrology, mundane astrology, evolutionary astrology, Orient astrology, Chinese astrology, medical astrology, and bro, there's a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of these jokes. Okay, you have a plethora of different house systems too. The most popular are Placidus and whole sign, but you got other ones. You have the Sabian symbols and the nakshatras and the angular houses and the individual signs versus the social signs versus the collective signs versus yin and yang signs. You learn about Saturn returns and the elements and the modalities and the detriments and the domiciles and degree theory. Bro, it's a lot. This is not no small feat, astrology, bro. You can even bring numerology and sacred geometry into this whole thing, as well as other disciplines. Like, that's a lot, dude. This is not a small thing, bro. It's literally impossible for one person to learn everything in one lifetime. And especially to perform them all well at a masterful degree, it's too much. That's like asking a doctor to be a doctor of every different subject that a doctor can be in, bro. You need to do a brain surgeon, a gut surgeon, a foot surgeon, a dentist. That's a lot, bro. What? That shit ain't happening, bro. You're not doing it and doing all that well, bro. It's too much. Anyway, last point. As you can see, astrology is a science. It is a language. It involves complex mathematical calculations to delineate planetary positions, human behavior, and world events. When you read the studies, you will see these are real studies that show the things that we talked about the dopamine and the serotonin and the sleeping and hey, it's real, bro. At this point, after seeing all of this, bro, if you can't see how astrology is one of the most complex disciplines on the planet, you're making an active choice to not see it. Because I just showed you scientific data from a real college doing real institutional research on the seasons and neurotransmitters. It's called the College of Neuropsychopharmacology for a reason. That's a long... Who the hell makes a name like that unless they're studying some crazy shit, bro? Like, bro, come on now. Neuropsychopharmacology. Neuro, the brain. Psycho, the psychology, right? And then you have pharma, which is the drugs and the you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, come on now. This is clearly as... What the fuck was I trying to say there? This is clearly as a sunny day on the equator. Oh, this is as clear as a sunny day on the equator with no shades and a reflector. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit. Those things that they use to get the light reflected on their face. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. If you can't see clearly, hey, that's a choice. I can see all. I'm serious, but after that, bro, there's no way that you can deny that it's not a science at this point, unless you're purposefully doing it. You're making a choice at this point. Now, you could argue that it's a sin, or it's shirk, or haram, or all the other shit. But we're going to go over all that. I think I had to add haram, because I don't think I put that in there. But once I go over the other ones, you'll be like, oh, I get it. We're going to go all over that, because it's none of those things. It's none of them. No. I went through the books. I got all the words. I went to Strong's Concordance and Thayer's Lexicon, and I looked it up, the definitions of what the words really meant, not the ones that they put in the book, because they even use the word sorcery for multiple different words that don't really mean the same thing. It's like, what are y'all doing? That translation is terrible. What is that? Anywho, thank you guys for watching. Before we end, let us pray. Abba Father, Eli and El, in the name of Yeshua, who we know as Jesus the Christ, I thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to show this to the world, to show this disciplined math. Wow, to show this discipline to the world, how it's a math, how it's science, it's mathematical, it's scientific. I'm grateful that you have chosen me to be able to give this to everybody, because this is important, and it's just something that I'm grateful for, man. Allow us to not have the veils laid over our eyes anymore, so that we can see the truth. We can see truth when truth is shown to us. And I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Abba Father. In your Son, Yeshua, who we know as Jesus the Christ's name, I pray. Amen, Amin, and Ashe. Thank you guys so much. You can send a donation to the things down below, and follow me on all my social media, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, right? I also have a Twitter, but I'm not on there. I need to get on there. But also, those donations that you send, they don't go to me. When you send a donation, I give that to a homeless person on the street, or I give them food and I give it to them, or I go to a widow, someone who knows a widow, and I give it to them, or or I use that money for things to help the kingdom, to help the rule, to follow Yeshua's commandments, right? That's what I use these donations for. They're not for me. You know, I got a regular job, right? So I do this for uplifting the kingdom, to uplift Yeshua, who we know as Jesus the Christ's name, right? That's why I do this. Because astrology is one of the biggest things that you can do to get closer to Abba Father, Eli and El. Sorry about that. I ran out of storage. So all I wanted to say was I appreciate you guys, and thank you guys so much for even watching me. You know, I love you guys, appreciate you guys, and keep watching, because I have a lot more. This is going to get deep. When I get to the Holy Writ section, this section, I don't know if y'all ready for that. Oh, you see, what is the text? We go into the Bible and the Torah and the Quran. I'm telling y'all, I don't know if y'all ready. I'm gonna give you should I give you a sneak peek? I don't want to give you a sneak peek. No, I'm not gonna do that. But I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And until next time, subscribe, follow me, like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace out.